and welcome back to Cecil Weekly on Cecil.tv. I'm Allison Donnelly, and today is Monday, June 6th. Tonight's show will feature a weekend recap of the local events in the county, including the Rising Sun Sunfest and a vintage baseball game at the Calvert Regional Park. In the studio are Mike Massuli, Deputy Director of Addiction Services at the Cecil County Health Department, Allison Galbraith, a Harford County Democrat who has filed to run against Representative Andy Harris for Maryland's 1st Congressional District, and Chan Cosans, a local businesswoman and skin care consultant, to talk to us about how we can protect our skin this summer. Mike, welcome.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
First, tell us about the Addiction Services Program.
Sure, well, thank you very much. The Alcohol and Drug Recovery Center at the Cecil County Health Department offers a wide range of services. And these include screening, assessment, and referral. So anybody in the county who is interested in seeking or receiving services for substance use disorders can come in and use us as a good starting point. They'll meet with a professional. They'll meet with somebody who can kind of help guide them into a system, which is often very confusing for folks knowing where to start. We also offer treatment services on site at the health department and within our local detention center. We offer partnerships, or we work with local community partners like the Cecil County Public School System, social services, drug court, a bunch of different partners to offer services throughout the county. We also have a very vibrant peer recovery support program, and this is individuals in recovery from a substance use disorder who can use that experience to help engage with others, motivate them, and connect them with resources. And we're very proud of that program because not only are they located on site in the health department waiting for folks to come to us, but we've also worked to get them throughout the community where individuals are who could benefit from those services. We also have a very busy prevention program that focuses on preventing substance use disorders, whether it's stopping use before it starts, intervening early before use becomes problematic, or offering services to folks once a substance use disorder is started, either to prevent it from getting worse and preventing consequences like overdose prevention, or preventing relapse from happening for folks who have achieved some degree of recovery.
So what is the impact of addiction on Cecil County and surrounding areas?
Yeah, and that's a wonderful question. In our current climate, most people are aware of substance use disorders. Most people are aware that substance use is an issue here in Cecil County, and a lot of people are aware of the consequences of it. You know, we're all very familiar with overdose fatalities. We're familiar with crime. We're very familiar with the impact on families and work, etc. But we need to keep in mind that this is not just a Cecil County problem. Mm-hmm. This is unfortunately a problem that is very similar in neighboring counties, neighboring states, and nationwide. It's a problem that affects not just those people, but those people are our people. They're our family, they're our friends, our husbands, our wives, our children. They're our neighbors, they're the people we go to church with. So this is really a community problem that needs a community solution.
So how can the community access these resources?
Well, there's a whole bunch of different ways, and I'll go through a few. One of the things that I mentioned was working with partner agencies. So one of the things that the health department with our partners has really tried to do is enhance the sophistication and ability of these other systems to identify substance use disorders, to help intervene or offer motivation, then connect folks with services. So for example, our local hospital has been a wonderful partner to allow those peer advocates, those peer recovery specialists I talked about, to come throughout the hospital and work with patients who have a substance use disorder. And we've done similar in the local school system, local detention center, Department of Social Services, taking essentially the efforts, our work upstream and reaching people where they are and not just relying on waiting for those services or those people to come to us for services. Oftentimes people think too often that there is no help available. You know, they think, well, where am I going to call? Where am I going to reach out to? And it can be very confusing. Cecil County should be very proud that over the last several years, services for addiction and recovery have grown immensely. Mm-hmm. Cecil County now has something along the lines of 14 recovery houses. These are sober, supportive, living environments for people in recovery. Wow. To help continue, you know, that transition from, let's say, a treatment center back into the community. We have several new treatment providers that didn't exist before that have opened their doors in the last several months to a year. Even though with these new services, it can be confusing where to start. Folks can visit rewriteyourscript.org as a starting place to find the information about those resources, what they are, who to call, how to access them. Additionally, folks can call the health department, the Alcohol and Drug Recovery Center, also as a starting place. And that phone number is 410-996-5106. And then one other thing I'd like to mention again is those peer recovery specialists. Folks oftentimes don't reach out of fear, out of shame, out of guilt. They don't know where to start. They don't want to necessarily open it up. And folks can call our peer recovery specialists. Again, these are individuals in successful, sustained recovery from a substance use disorder. So they've already been there. They've been through this. And they can reach out. They can be reached at 443-206-4153.
Oh, great. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you for joining us this evening.
Absolutely.
And so rewriteyourscript.org, or and we'll share the number on our website and on social media. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Cecil.tv is looking for advertisers. If your business would like to reach the Cecil.tv audience with a message about your products or services, we would like to talk to you about our competitively priced advertising packages. Allison Galbraith, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Tell us about yourself and why you've decided to run.
Well, I'm a small business owner and I'm a single mother, and after the election I went to go see Andy Harris's constituent liaison about my concerns for women's health care and the difficulties that women had buying private policies on the individual market prior to ACA. And I asked if they would be protected because I rely on it to have my own business. And the answer was completely unacceptable. First it was, well, we'll protect pre-existing conditions. And I said, well, what about gender rate hikes? And heard nothing. And I said, what about regulating drug prices? And it wasn't in his platform. And then I said, well, can I meet with your healthcare liaison? And so I spoke to them and they said, well, that situation you had where you couldn't purchase insurance back in 2009, you could have gone in the high risk pool. And I said, yeah, I know. I wouldn't have been able to get coverage for 6 months. And that didn't work. So I went back to work and full time earlier than I wanted to after having my son. And then I finally got to meet with Andy Harris himself. And I said, do you promise me that you'll vote against any healthcare legislation or ACA replacement legislation that allows for gender rate hikes? And he looked at me and he said, well, I think that most people wouldn't mind if women paid a little more for health insurance. And I said, women mind. And I'd already been thinking about it because people had been saying, you should run, you should run. And I think that was just the breaking point where I said, he's not representing everyday people.
Right.
And I work in the federal government. Well, so my business provides streamlining services. Basically, I go into federal research and development programs and I look for ways they can find efficiencies and do more with less. So I understand the ins and outs of the federal government very, very well.
So that segues into my next question, which is, why do you believe that your career and life experiences qualify you for the job?
Well, as a single mother and previously married to a veteran, I have a lot of life experience with federal programs. I understand how federal programs can make or break people's lives, basically. And that personal experience combined with my professional experience of understanding the ins and outs of the federal government, how it works, how it doesn't, and making it better every day, plus a background in public policy and public management, I said, you know what? We don't need career politicians. We need people who understand the government and are going to work for the people instead of donors. And I can do that. I can fight for the people, and I can make the federal government work better. So all of my experiences with federal programs, and I said, well, that's where I'll go to run for a federal office.
So what are your top campaign priorities?
Healthcare would have to be number one. Education is number two. And then, there's a tie between a few different issues for number three, but I would say it's the economy jobs, which is related to our environment here in District 1, and also anti-corruption, getting the big money out of the politics so that the people are being represented and not just the very well-off people or the big corporations, the special interests.
So agriculture is very important to Cecil County's landscape and economy, but so is the Chesapeake Bay. How will you manage those competing priorities?
You know, it's interesting. One of the research and development programs that I help with is related to, it's actually related to getting rid of chemical munitions. But if you think about it, anything that can get rid of chemical munitions or biological waste or things like that can also get rid of other environmental contaminants. There are research and development programs that will take the chicken waste, for instance, and burn it and turn it into energy. They're not being invested in well, but things like that, research and development brings more professional jobs, and it can help the agricultural community, and it can help the Bay. So I think that there are creative ways that you can address all of those problems without without really putting the farmers at a disadvantage. And the other thing is that Maryland farmers have already done a lot to clean up. It's Pennsylvania farmers that are being not held to as restrictive standards. Those things really do need to be addressed at a federal level.
So there are 50,000 more Republicans than Democrats registered in District 1 and about 5,000 more Republicans than Democrats registered in Cecil County. What is your strategy for winning over moderate Republicans and libertarians in our district?
I love talking to libertarians.
Oh, I actually meant independents.
Well, there are more than enough independents to flip the district, and then some. They're definitely there. It's a matter of getting them out. And let's face it, we're in a two-party system. There's no getting around that. But I like to say that if I could run as the party of critical thinking, then that's where I would be at. I'm always going to vote for the people. And I feel like the Republican Party's almost been hijacked by people who just want to give to the corporations at the expense of the people. I think that a lot of the moderate Republicans can relate to that. And the key to all of it, I believe, is just to go out and talk to people and have one-on-one personal contact and go out and meet with them and hear their concerns. A lot of people just want to be listened to and know that they're being represented by the government.
Well, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
It was great to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
In the interest of fairness, the Harris campaign was invited to appear on Cecil Weekly.
We encourage you to enjoy musicians, vendors, and the great food. Stop by our booths and purchase a t-shirt to support our police department and our community event fund.
Mayor Marion, what makes Sunfest special?
Sunfest is a day of community, a day in the sun, a day full of residents coming together and enjoying our community. Rising Sun has so many great things going on right now, and we're so excited to share with everyone today at Sunfest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I lose my balance on these eggshells. You tell me to tread. I'd rather be a wild one instead.
What do you guys like about Sunfest?
Dunking our vice principal,
What's his name?
Dr. Kubek,
What school do you go to?
Calvert.
What do you like about Sunfest?
Dunking Dr. Kubek and getting a fidget spinner.
Oh, getting a fidget spinner? What about you?
Getting a fidget spinner.
Awesome. Thank you guys. What organization are you with today?
The Rising Sun High School Tiger Athletic Booster Club.
And what are you raising money for?
We raise money to support any high school athletic team that that the school can't support. So if they need extra uniforms, equipment, things like that, we support any athletic team at the high school.
And why do you come to Sunfest?
This is a great opportunity to get out into the community and raise money for, we sell apparel, we print flyers for our different events that we have upcoming, and it's just a great opportunity to get the word out about what we do in the community.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
I'm Sarah Farrington.
And who are you here with today?
I'm here with my mom, Shannon.
And you're volunteering with the Historical Society?
Yes, here in Rising Sun.
Can you tell us a bit about what you're wearing?
So this is a day dress from World War I, and this is just, it's a little more fancy than what my mom is wearing, and it's just for, you know, the day and like having tea and stuff like that.
And this is part of a larger project about focusing on fashion through the years.
So Mom and I do the fashion and everything, and then we have the group also that does just kind of everything, all the aspects of the time and everything.
Great, thank you. And can you tell us a bit about what you're wearing?
I am a World War I yeomanette. The Navy was the first branch of the service to allow women to serve. And so I'm representing their uniform, and they served in 1917 and 1918, and then when the war ended with the armistice, they discharged them all. So they didn't get to stay, but then they came back in World War II. So.
Very cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Why do you come to Sunfest?
We come to Sunfest for the donuts.
Because it's a short walk. We live right around the corner, and our travel agent is here, so we got to talk to him about our upcoming cruise.
And we come to see Butch Webb with all the pit beef.
Oh.
It tastes very good. And to visit old friends.
What's your name and why are you here today?
I'm Trenton, and I'm here because I'm gonna support my scout, and I want to have every single kid try to join scouts, or at least think about it so you can have scouts. Right now they're building cars, and we get to race sailboats over here, and it's a really fun. I'm Pack 28 right here, and I'm sponsoring the Legion.
Very cool. Thanks. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Donna Authenry, and I live in Rising Sun, and I'm raising money for Plumpton Park Zoo to get Jimmy the giraffe a girlfriend.
Why is this an important cause?
This is an important cause because Jimmy is a 21-year-old giraffe that is in a brand new home, and he deserves to have a girlfriend.
Thank you. Welcome back. I'm here with Chan Cosans, who will talk to us about how we can protect our skin from harmful UV rays this summer. Chan, tell us about what you do.
Right. I have been a Mary Kay independent sales director. This year is 26 years. And I never thought that I would love this, but it's a lot of fun, and helping people take care of their skin is a lot of it, and helping people take care of their children's skin. Because I remember during an event in Northeast, it was called the Northeast Water Festival, and I was doing something for the town, and people were walking by with their baby of like 6-8 months. I said, "Would you like some sunscreen?" They said, no, we'll be fine. I said, "Oh," I said, "it it always makes me feel good when my child is screaming in the middle of the night with a severe sunburn. They turned right back around and they came back and got some sunscreen. At any rate, there is a lot that has changed from the time I first got here. When I was a little girl, which is a long time ago, I tell people I was God's bacon, you know, because I just went out and I laid in the sun and I fried on one side and I fried on the other. And nobody told us to put on any kind of screen or protection.
Did you have the that silver reflector?
No, this was at the seashore. I was just looking cool at that point, and I wore something called Bronze Tan because it didn't pick up the sand and it smelled good. I'm not kidding. So, at any rate, I did get a couple of really, really bad burns. And then when my kids were teenagers, I did join Mary Kay, and I began to learn about what the sun's rays really do to a person's body. About 10 minutes in the sun is beneficial because we all need vitamin D. And a lot of people suffer from that deficiency. They don't get outside and they become depressed, and a lot of other things can happen, and vitamin D is very, very beneficial. But that's 10 minutes. It's not 5 hours. And people forget about that. If indeed, and this was a while ago, you can prevent a child from having a bad sunburn from birth to about 18, that cuts their risk of getting skin cancer more than in half.
Wow.
If you allow your child to have one bad sunburn where they blister, be ready to faint. That reduces your ability to prevent personal skin cancer by 78%, and you never get that back.
Wow.
Right, you're done. You're 78% towards the ability to have some kind of skin cancer. If you don't, it's, that's fine. For me, my husband, my lovely husband, took me on a cruise, and we were in the Caribbean. And when I came back, people said, "Shan, you don't have a tan." And I very quietly said I didn't want a tan because I'd learned so much at that point. And we all like to have a little color and that sort of stuff, but you can wear sunscreen and still get that little bit of color.
Yeah.
Having extreme color, it depends on your skin type, your body type, whatever. Okay. When I first came into Mary Kay, it was totally true. I'd go plug Newark Natural Foods, and I would go over there, and the people would not use anything beyond SPF 15. Because once you passed SPF 15, if you got to 30 or 45, which was out there 26 years ago, they said that above 15, whatever ingredient was in the sunscreen could do as much damage to your skin in terms, and then could do as much damage to your skin. You had as much chance of getting skin cancer from the sunscreen as you did from the sun. So SPF 15 was about it. Now technologies have improved. What I would say to everybody, Mary Kay does have one sunscreen specifically for your body that is SPF 50. Then we have a couple of other products that are, and it's called broad spectrum SPF because that limits the ability of the sun's rays. They're more than just the UV rays. There are other rays that can get to you. So we have broad spectrum SPF. We have SPF 15 for your lips, SPF 50 for your body skin, and then for your facial skin, we have SPF 30 and SPF 35. It's person to person. You don't have to buy Mary Kay. I love it. It's been successful for me. I'm much older than a lot of people think. I have my little lines and everything, but compared to an average person. My next decade, I will be an octogenarian. So, yeah, so, for real. And so at any rate, I do a lot of things to keep healthy, but one of them is to protect my skin from the sun. What I would tell people very, very firmly, particularly for people with babies up to age 2, and even beyond that, my son can't use Mary Kay, can't use a lot of stuff because it burns him. So please do a spot test on your skin ahead of time before you're going out. And look at the ingredients. Please Google things and check out the ingredients, how many people like it, how many people find it successful. I do know that one of our parishioners is a redhead, and she sent her husband out, and she goes, here, take the Mary Kay. Sorry, it's a shameless plug here, I just want to tell you. So anyway, he went out fishing, and he comes back in, he's a redhead, and he goes, look, he said I was there. He said I was out for 5 hours. I'm not burned. This stuff is great. Okay, that's if it works for you. And other people with a greater intensity of SPF burned. So you really have to check it out yourself. Be responsible. Don't not wear sunscreen. You're very, very foolish. There's clothing at this point that has SPF in it. So look at those. Wear a hat. Wear a lip protector. Protect yourself from the sun. It'll do you well. Because what's your largest? Do you know what your largest organ is?
Skin.
Yep. And so when that stays in good shape, probably the rest of you is in pretty good shape too.
Well, thank you very much.
How's that? Okay. Good luck, Cecil County. Stay out of the sun, and when you do, wear sunscreen. Good?
Yes. Thank you very much for being here.
Great. Thanks, sweet.
19th century baseball is the true essence of the game in its infancy. Most teams started playing baseball around the country. They were called clubs. Each town started having a club just after the Civil War. The guys learned the game in the camps, in their Civil War camps, and they brought the game back to their home. The game originated in New York in 1845, was the very first established club, which was the New York Knickerbockers. And from there it grew, and normally it was set up in the beginning as a gentleman's club, like your Lions Club or your VFW, where people got together and had a social atmosphere, and they played baseball as their activity. But as time went on, the sport grew, word spread. People traveled up and down the coast and started learning that there was this game in New York that they started playing in Baltimore, and they started. And by about 1867 or 68, most towns on the East Coast had a team, and it became a rivalry situation, like Rising Sun versus Elkton. In 1866, there were a handful of teams in Cecil County. There was the Northeast had a club. There was a Mystic Circle. Rising Sun had the baseball club of Rising Sun. There was the Elkton Eclipse in Elkton. There was a Bohemian Manor club, the Eurekas, and there was a Cecil club. So there were half a dozen clubs in Cecil County by 1867, 68. So I've been playing for different teams up until 2012 when I began the Rising Sun team. Rising Sun had a club in the 1860s, and they were very competitive. In fact, Rising Sun was competitive with their local club up until Susquehanna League disbanded in 1954. So almost 100 years of baseball tradition was already here in the 50s. On June 24th and 25th, we'll be having an event at Dove Valley Winery. It will be from 11 a.m. until about 4 p.m. each day. There will be teams coming from New York, Pennsylvania, and Delaware coming down. One of the clubs coming down is the New York Mutuals. They are possibly the longest established 19th century era club. They started in the 90s, as opposed to most of the clubs are on the East Coast, started picking up in the early 2000s. So that'll be a good event to come out, check out some baseball, taste some local wine, have a good time at a winery, pull up the picnic chair, and just hang out and watch baseball as it was meant to be, like we like to say.